Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, 9:54 p.m. It's October 27th, Monday, 2025. Welcome to Clown Planet Daily Wrap-Up. I'm Steve with Sensus Fidelium. I know it's a way tardy for right now, almost 10 p.m. on East Coast time. Long story. We'll get right to it sometime else. Anyways, let's get right to, it's not going to be that big of a Black Pill Monday, but good enough, I guess. Schwarzenegger terminates Jake Tapper's entire argument over gerrymandering. Former governor, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger gave CNN's Jake Tapper a sharp rebuke after the anchor suggested that gerrymandering is primarily a Republican issue. No, Jake, there's been gerrymandering going on for 200 years. Noting that both Massachusetts and New Mexico are prime examples for it. In a state like Massachusetts, it has like 40% of the people voting for Trump. They have zero representatives, he said. The Republican Party has zero representatives sent to the House. Think about that. In New Mexico, 45% of the people that voted for Trump and vote Republican, and zero is sent to the House. Zero representatives from the Republican Party, he said. When they say this is temporary, there is no such thing. I mean, the longest programs in our government programs that are temporary. Okay, just remember if this was a tax program or if it was a redistricting program, anything that is temporary with government is permanent. That's pretty accurate because, you know, if you ever heard of this guy named George Washington, there was this thing called the Whiskey Rebellion, and there was a tax put on. It's still with us today. That was supposed to go away, and it's still with us. By the way, being that it's the 27th of October, it's also the 27th day of government shutdown. Well, unless you're on the SNAP, which apparently SNAP recipients are saying they're going to loot Walmart and everywhere else if benefits end, and they are supposed to end Friday. Starting November 1st, SNAP is dried up apparently, or won't be sending out any payments. So the word on the street is looting is going to happen, or people are going to go after people that buy groceries and try to steal it from you when you walk out of a grocery store. I don't know. It's a lot of fear going on. Again, government problems. When daddy gets into there and starts creating this welfare state, they're going to get upset because now they want other people's money. And when they run out of OPM, it's like OPM. They ended up they need to get that itch. They need other people's money, so they're going to get other people something somehow. So be cognizant on things like that. Unintended consequences, obviously, who knows if it will happen, but if it does, keep your head on a swivel or just don't go. You're not supposed to be shopping on Saturday anyways because it's going to be the Feast of All Saints, and it's supposed to treat that like a Sunday. So, I don't know. You're supposed to avoid the shopping centers anyway on Saturday and Sunday. So, everyone here should be okay, and every good Catholic should be okay. Get it done before the week, just in case. Again, you never know. Don't want to turn it into a toilet paper incident from the 2020s, but they're threatening. Somebody might try to do something. If anything happens, it will be in the bigger cities because that's where more of the welfare state is. So I don't be cognizant of that. The well has run dry. USDA says SNAP benefits will expire for 41 million people if shutdown persists. Now they're going to use this anyways. Try to get in the emotional aspect of this shutdown, because obviously you have to be, the daddy government's got to give people OPM out. More than 41 million Americans will go without food stamps next month if Congress does not vote to reopen the government in time. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is an unconstitutional group, stated on October 24th. With the government shutdown now well into its 25th day, this was written on Saturday, but it was posted on Monday. The Senate Republicans and Democrats remain at an impasse over expiring health care subsidies, another thing that the government should not be into. You see the pattern? Government involvement is the problem. Bottom line, the well has run dry. The USDA wrote on its website, at this time, there will be no benefits issued November 1st. During fiscal year 2024, the government's supplemental nutrition assistance program, SNAP, if you're nasty, was supported on average 41.7 million participants, or 12.3% of the U.S. population every month. Anywhere between 4.7% and 21.2% of each state's population was on SNAP in 2024. And in SNAP, you can pretty much buy whatever you want that is pretty much the opposite of nutrition. In a memo obtained by the Epoch Times on October 24th, the USDA stated that it cannot use agency emergency funds to keep the SNAP program running if Congress doesn't vote to pass the funding agreement. You know, what if 4 million people were, I don't know, growing their own food? SNAP contingency funds are only available to supplement regular monthly benefits when amounts have been appropriated for but are insufficient to cover benefits, the memo said. The contingency fund is not available to support fiscal year 2026 regular benefits because the appropriation for regular benefits no longer exists. The memo states that the money is used for emergencies such as hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods that can come on quickly and without notice. Funny thing is, we haven't had a hurricane the entire hurricane season. None that has hit the continental United States at all. I mean, the one that's in the Caribbean right now is going to hit Jamaica and go out to sea. Ain't going to touch anything. The memo was sent with criticism from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, which pointed out that the agency is contradicting its now deleted September 30th lapse of funding plan, which can still be found on an archived version on the USDA website. It expired, just like everything else they have. It expired. There was an expiration date on that. The administration itself admits these reserves are available for use. It could have and should have taken steps weeks ago to be ready to use these funds. But that's the problem of it. They use it to be able to do this. Officials from Oklahoma reiterated that concern, saying it's unclear if recipients will be able to use existing SNAP funds after October 31st. However, other states, such as Hawaii, said SNAP benefits already loaded onto electronic benefits transfer cards from October or previous months should still be available on November 1st. You know, whatever you do in Hawaii, don't fish. You know, fish is food, but don't fish. Again, grow your own food. Think of this as a way of down the road when, like, say, you're not allowed to buy something because your digital ID or credit score is not allowing you to do it. What is your backup plan? Better start learning how to grow your own basil, or grow your own oregano, grow your own tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, whatever. Get a greenhouse. Find something. You know, one way, you don't even need a heater. How about this? Get a big bucket, put water in it. Put it next to a tree, or put a cover over that, and put your plants in there. Guess what happens? The sun heats up that bucket of water that's inside there, and if you have it enclosed in something, it heats up that inside of that tent or cover or whatever. It's a heating unit in a function, in a sense. Obviously, if it's no sun for about 3 days, that's a little different, okay? But most of the time, you're going to have the sun come out and heat it up. It's not going to be 9,000 degrees in there, but it'll work. It'll heat up a little bit. I know guys that have done that and don't even put anything over. And it just because the bucket is there, that water will heat that area up. So there's no excuses. I mean, I'm in a rental and growing my own stuff. It ain't everything, but if everyone in their neighborhood starts getting together, just like protection, starts just like if you have, hey, what's going to happen if somebody comes in this way, and this guy's got this, and this guy's got this, this guy's got this. It's a team unit. You don't have to be individual. Not an army of one doesn't work. Argentine markets soar after President Javier Milei's midterm victory. Milei thanks once and future King President DJT, as he should, since he just gave him $20 billion. Argentina's bonds, currencies, and equities surged on Monday after President Javier Milei's party secured a crucial midterm victory. Or you could say that Trump obtained a crucial midterm victory. The result is key to preserving Milei's sweeping economic reset in the country crushed by decades of nation-killing socialist mismanagement. And Milei got the $20 billion bailout. So with Milei's free market reforms, he got a $20 billion bailout. An aggressive austerity program has already begun to cool inflation and stabilize financial conditions. Where in this article is it going to say that Milei got a $20 billion? Oh, there it is. The U.S. recently provided Argentina with a combined $40 billion, $20 billion central bank swap line, and a potential $20 billion loan facility. Earlier, once a future king, President DJT called Sunday's midterm election results a big win for Milei's party. Hey, $20 billion can get you a long way. Not only did he win, he won by a lot. I wonder if it was $20 billion worth. Thank you, President Milei thanked on Twitter. Gracias, Presidente, por confiar en el pueblo argentino. Usted es un gran amigo de la República Argentina. You are a great friend of the Argentine Republic. Our nation should never have stopped being allies. Our peoples want to live in freedom. Count on me to fight for Western civilization, which has succeeded in lifting more than 90% of the world's population out of poverty. I am trying. It was a $40 billion bailout, Mark. My apologies. I was half wrong. And yeah, I'm actually trying to learn Spanish in between doing videos. Like I found a couple things. There's one guy who's a cop, and he learned on his own and within a year. And so I'm trying to practice as much as I can. Also trying to learn a little bit of Greek and obviously more Latin too to go with it. So it's because I found an extra second of my life I'm not doing anything in. So I'm trying to utilize that. But yes, I was wrong. I apologize. The corrections department has come out and said that this guy is an idiot. He should never be listened to ever again in his life. It wasn't $20 billion. It was $40 billion. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. All right, back to the action. Feel like, full machine. I better spell this right. I'm going to get 1,000 letters saying that I misspelled something. I got it wrong. You're right. Just kidding, guys. Correct me anytime. I don't care. In 2024, Trump flat out admits that he wants Venezuela to collapse so he can take their oil. Keep that in mind as he sends more than 4,000 troops and a bunch of warships to their coastline. This is him speaking in North Kakalaki. You can see the thing at the bottom. When I left, Venezuela was all ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door to us. The warships off Venezuela aren't there to fight drugs, says Al Jazeera. The U.S. says it's fighting drugs, but its warships off Venezuela tell another story about power control and regime change. No more mistakes for you. I know that was my one. That's it. I have one. It's like golf. You have a mulligan. I use my mulligan. 10,000 soldiers on board 10 U.S. warships, including a nuclear submarine, several destroyers, and a missile cruiser. Man, they ain't messing around. Patrol the Southern Caribbean. What is the largest U.S. military buildup in the region in decades? At least 7 boats allegedly transporting drugs have been bombed, resulting in the extrajudicial killing of more than 32 people. And now the U.S. administration is threatening Venezuela with direct military action. The Pentagram has reported drawing up plans for military strikes inside Venezuela, and once a future king, President DJT has authorized the CIA to conduct lethal covert ops there. All this is ostensibly armed at getting rid of Maduro, who Trump claims is leading a vast criminal organization. Quote, Maduro is the leader of a designated narco-terrorist organization, Cartel de los Sols, and he is responsible for trafficking drugs into these United States and having a ton of oil underneath his seat. Whoops, not supposed to say that. Strike that from the record. Secretary of State and longtime Venezuela hawk Marco Rubio has said to justify the U.S. military posture in the region. The United States has also placed a $50 million bounty on the Venezuelan president. Said, we want this guy dead because we need that oil. Sure need a couple boats out there. Yeah, sure. You don't come in with that kind of force, and because you're going after a couple of fishing boats with some coke on it. If so, they'd be on the other side doing the same thing. Well, they did bump too, but there's more coming out of all these other places. Oh, great googly moogly. The official narrative is a fabrication. The existence of the Venezuela government-run Cartel de los Sols, let alone its control of a transnational cocaine trade from Venezuela, has been largely debunked. And while Tren de Aragua is a real criminal organization with a transnational presence, it lacks the capacity to operate in the ways suggested by these United States. It certainly pales in comparison to the power of cartels in Colombia, Mexico, or Ecuador. Telling me the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration National Drug Threat Assessment of 2024 does not even mention Venezuela. And a classified National Intelligence Council report established that Maduro did not control any drug trafficking organization. There is no denying that there is some transiting of drugs through Venezuela, but the volume is marginal compared to the cocaine currently passing through South America's Pacific Coast routes. The Venezuela plays no role in production and export of synthetic drugs such as fentanyl, or with the U.S. broader opioid crisis. Put simply, if the Trump administration was actually intent on combating drug trafficking, Venezuela makes little sense as a target. So what's this really about? Blah, blah, blah. At first, the U.S. display of force on the coast of Venezuela appeared to be an exercise in political theater, an attempt by once and future President DJT to project his tough-on-crime approach to domestic, including eager MAGA audiences. If you traffic in drugs towards our shore, we'll stop you cold, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said last week. Recent polls show that the crime remains one of America's primary concerns. So anyway, you can read all this. It's in the show notes underneath. I really bring up Libya, huh? Where was it? Such a Libya-style proxy war would flood an already volatile region with more weapons and money. Here's Venezuela claims capture of CIA group, accuses U.S. of plotting false flag attack. The Nicolas Maduro regime on Sunday, Venezuela has captured a group of alleged mercenaries with ties to U.S. CIA and accused Washington and Trinidad and Tobago of coordinating military exercise intended to provoke an armed confrontation in the Caribbean. In a statement in a statement released by Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, the socialist government said the arrest revealed what it described as a false flag operation planned from waters bordering Trinidad and Tobago, or from Trinidadian or Venezuelan territory, to generate a full-scale military confrontation against Venezuela. Would be the first time something like that happened. The Venezuelan government did not release any evidence or details about the alleged arrests, such as the number of suspects, their nationalities, or when and where they were detained. Navy loses in the Navy. Navy loses 2 aircraft from the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier within 30 minutes. How do you lose 2? How do you lose 1? How do you lose 2? A fighter jet and a helicopter based off the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz both crashed in the South China Sea within 30 minutes of each other, the Navy's Pacific Fleet said. The 3 crew members of the MH-60R Seahawk helicopter were rescued on Sunday afternoon, and the 2 aviators of the F-18F Super Hornet fighter jet ejected and were recovered safely, and all 5 are safe and in stable condition, the fleet said in a statement. One in Trump speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One en route to Tokyo on Monday said that the incidents could have been caused by bad fuel. So we need to get the good fuel out of Venezuela. See, that's why we got to go in and just turn Venezuela into a parking lot, kill them all, and get that oil because we got bad fuel. He ruled out foul play and said there was nothing to hide. Drones could replace large U.S. Army units in Europe. experts suggest. They've been talking about stuff like this for a long time. Since 1945, the U.S. Army has been designed to defend Europe, despite detours into counterinsurgency in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. The core of the Army remains a large force of heavy mechanized brigades. But the times are a-changing. The Obama administration shifted American strategy policy from Europe to Asia. Today, the Trump administration is prioritizing homeland defense, the Western Hemisphere, and the Pacific, and most of the Milky Way galaxy. So what do you do with an army designed for Europe when Europe isn't the focus anymore? The answer is drones, says one American expert. An expenditory force of drone units stationed in Europe or dispatched as needed would be an economical alternative to maintaining large garrison overseas. And if you've seen the nerds online that play video games, great googly moogly. You don't need to do a push-up to be in the military. All you have to do is be able to have thumbs that don't cramp up after a while, be able to move the joystick, hit the button, you're done. Push-ups, sit-ups, all you got to do is have a butt to sit down on, so you can do it. The government shutdown isn't stopping Trump from amassing emergency powers. As of mid-2025, there were roughly 50 simultaneous national emergencies in force. Usually when we're in the midst of a government shutdown, I'm in a good mood. Sure, reason is kind of a lefty-leaning libertarian group, if that makes any sense. I'm surely haven't accomplished blah, 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 but it's nice to walk around feeling a little less governed than usual. I do agree. But even the small pleasure has turned sour. Yes, fiscal restraint matters. It matters to this magazine, which has made cutting spending the subject of a greater percentage of our cover stories than perhaps any other publication. And it matters to me personally. I've spent the last 25 years writing about the need to take debt and spending seriously. I hate to break it to you. Is it Kathleen? They're not doing that. They do not care about that. The size of the state is inversely proportional to personal liberty in ways that are too often overlooked. Hence, I keep on saying decentralization. But the intense acceleration of the quest of aggregated power in the White House is now ambiguously the more immediate threat to liberty. It's visible every day on my commute to work as National Guardsmen linger in my D.C. metro stop. It's visible in September gathering the nation's top military officials. Okay, can we get to the point? In the Cato Institute's Gene Haley wrote the Bible on the imperial presidency, tracing how voters of all stripes invest outsized hopes in presidents and then act all shocked when presidents behave like tyrants. The durable lesson: don't confer power on your team's guy that you wouldn't trust in the other team's hands. It's hard to break. The problem across partisan and is older than DJT or Brandon, or even Nixon. After Watergate, the nation briefly remembered why limits are good, but it wasn't long before the White House started soaking up powers again, and the 2000s, a cadre of executive power enthusiasts, such as Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, started pushing hard to restore presidential prerogatives. The legal and scholarly scaffolding of today's power grabs was assembled long before the last few months. Okay. Oh, yeah, the 100-mile border. The federal government claims sweeping authority in the 100-mile border zone. That's right. It's called the not the Constitution-free zone. That covers where nearly 2/3 Americans live. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Where are we at here? Let's get to something spicy. That's it. That's all you got right here. I thought they were going to give us like a list. Queensland LMP government restores a biological definition of women. Queensland's Minister for Women, Fiona Simpson, has restored the state's official definition for a woman. Under the previous Labour government, the definition has widened to encompass all people who identify as a woman or girl, according to the Queensland Women and Girls Health Strategy 2032 PDF included. It came amid broader changes to the Human Rights Act in June 2023, coming into effect a year later, which loosened the requirement for changing the official gender on a birth certificate to the point where children 12 and up could change their gender without needing surgery or treatment. Will the minister define women as is used in the Department of Women, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander partnerships and multiculturalism? And B, detail if the minister and department consider transgender people as women, Cadler said. This week, a response was provided where Simpson officially stated that A, a woman is an adult female human being, and B, a transgender person is someone whose gender identity is opposite to the sex the person was born with, male or female. How many have changed their official gender? Okay, we won't get into that. Read more of it, but that's the way we are right now, that we actually have to have government to define what a woman is. Trump administration quietly purges ICE leaders in 5 cities, says sources. Trump administration has began to purge ICE officials in office. We already said that. ICE leaders in Denver, LA, Philadelphia, Phoenix, and San Diego were relieved of their jobs and moved to other posts within the federal agency last Friday, the Washington Examiner has learned. Amazon to announce largest layoffs in company history, source says. Remember, we talked about Walmart leaving. A lot of these guys leaving, CEOs all over the place. Jay Diamond has brought this up. Remember, because the digital ID is coming, you get the CBDC and stable coins, that's coming. You get all this, the technocracy is coming. You'll end up having UBIs, universal basic income. All this stuff is in the works, and along with all the robots that are taking over. So you won't have to have the robots taking over the work. People can't find work, hence UBI. It's just one after another, after another, after another. That's why Elon and Peter Thiel and all that is got the president's ear. Amazon will begin a fresh round of job cuts beginning Tuesday. CNBC has learned the layoffs will amount to largest cuts to Amazon's corporate workforce in the company's history, according to a person familiar with the matter. The company conducted rolling layoffs across the company since 2022, which has resulted in more than 27,000 employees being let go. The company plans to lay off as many as 30,000 staffers across its corporate workforce, according to Reuters, which first reported the news. Amazon declined to comment. Category 5 Hurricane Melissa continues to strengthen ahead of historic catastrophic flood siege in Jamaica. Melissa will be one of the most devastating hurricanes on record in Jamaica, with widespread flooding, landslides, and destructive winds. Flooding rain is also a grave concern in Hispaniola and Cuba. Here's the latest forecast. Now, that thing was Friday. It's like Friday was a tropical storm. Was it a tropical storm? It was barely a storm. And I guess by what day was this? Came out 3 hours ago. So it came out about, I put this together probably about 4 o'clock p.m. It was a Cat 5. It'll weaken was to go up, but it's not going to touch anywhere in the States. I think we're located. Where are we located over there? I wish they put the boats on that map. Also in Jamaica, a powerful earthquake rattles the Caribbean as Hurricane Melissa barrels towards Jamaica. A massive hurricane was detected in the Caribbean, where Hurricane Melissa is also building strength. This happened. Okay, that's Martin Creek over there is magnitude 6.8 earthquake was detected near Guadeloupe, according to the USGS. Island does not currently face any threat of tsunami following the earthquake. Belgium at risk to becoming a narco-state, the judge warns. An autonomous judge at Antwerp has warned that drug cartels are infiltrating the police and judiciary in an open letter on the country's official court website. I forgot about this. Let's check out the war news. War Pigs edition of the program. U.S. sends carrier strike group near Venezuela. Inside Marco Rubio's push for regime change in Venezuela. Hey, they said regime change. U.S. sanctions Colombia's president amid boat strike spat. Israel launched Gaza airstrike with U.S. approval. Yeah, because, we're in a ceasefire. We got to get approval from D.C. to be able to bomb people. Israel backing 4 anti-Hamas militias in IDF-controlled Gaza. Ben-Gvir, IDF should shoot children near yellow line. That guy is just a disgusting human being. Netanyahu, Israel will decide on international forces in Gaza. 6 killed as Israel escalates Lebanon strikes. Israel tanks advance into Syria's Quneitra government. Settler terror devastates West Bank olive harvest. And Trump wants to meet Kim on Asia tour. But yeah, there's your old boy Ben-Gvir. In response, Gvir said, according to U.S. Israeli military, he made several comments during a recent security cabinet meeting. A military official who attended the meeting said that the IDF's policy is to shoot any adults who cross the line and arrest a child with a donkey. It's talking about the yellow line. In response, Ben-Gvir said, why not shoot a child with a donkey? Israel Channel 4 reported that he also urged the Israeli military to shoot children on donkeys too, saying that Israel must stop being merciful. Another Israeli official in the meeting then asked, who should be shot first, a child or the donkey? Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz concluded the conversation saying, anyone who approaches the fence should know that they may be harmed. Does that have it on here? That's on the Palestine Chronicle. Okay, yeah, those. So 3 days of Friday, Israeli ministers called to shoot children and donkeys near Gaza's yellow line. Now, I didn't see any of the Zionists online calling that out. There's the Trump bad fuel suspected in 2 U.S. military aircraft crashes in South China Sea. Millions of Gmail passwords stolen in massive data breach. So if you had a password, this happened today. If you have a Gmail account and you're watching this, we all do. Our passwords got stolen in a massive data breach. A massive email breach that saw the data of 183 million Gmail users leaked came from everywhere you could imagine, an expert has said. An urgent warning has been issued to Americans following a massive breach that resulted in millions and millions of passwords being stolen. The colossal email breach, which leaked the data of 183 million Gmail users, came from everywhere. We already talked about that. The breach prominently featured several categories of Google data, including email addresses, passwords, and the websites that they entered into. It comes just months after Google issued an alarming warning to anyone with a Gmail account over a twisted new AI scam. In total, around 3.5 terabytes of data were exposed. A cybersecurity expert has cautioned that users will need to take several steps to ensure their remaining data is well protected. Details of the data breach carried out by the info stealer activity and initially confirmed in April this year were posted to Have I Been Pawned database. Let's go. What is this bombshell here? Trump makes bombshell announcement about 2028 U.S. election. Prior to Trump's departure from his Asian tour, rumors have been swirling about Washington about the U.S. president's future political plans. Trump has given a major announcement. Blah, blah, blah. Trump is planning to meet his Chinese. Okay, we are heard. We knew about him meeting with Z. What it is currently 20. Prior to the departure of the Asian tour, rumors have been swirling around Washington and the U.S. president's future plans. His close ally, Steve Bannon, told The Economist there are plans afoot to allow Trump to run for a third time. It comes as the MAGA ally teased the plan for an unprecedented third time. Trump dismissed the strategy when quizzed about it on his presidential plane. It's too cute. He told reporters aboard Air Force One, saying he was ruling out the possibility. Though he rejected the vice presidential option, Trump has so far refused to rule out running for president for a third time. Blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I don't think he's going to make it just because of his age for the whole thing. What's his face? They'll have fans for 10 years. UFO tracker shows thousands of eerie underwater objects lurking along U.S. coast. Also, they probably be called sharks. Video accompanying one of the reports sent to UFO Lodging in the app Enigma showed mysterious green lights moving beneath the surface of the ocean. Okay, that's the best you got. And there's our, look at that, how great the technology is. There's Bigfoot right there, clear as day. So it really is nothing. There's literally a nothing burger type of a thing. That's happened. What happened hundreds of years ago on this day? And go UFOs, a favorite topic. Yes. Bannon was carrying on. Bannon hasn't stopped yapping about the third term thing. Tell him to call out. Tell him to bring up the Epstein files first. Oh yeah, I thought I hit the right button. Sorry. This day on maybe the Gmail got hit. 1978, Anwar Sadat and Menachem began awarded Nobel Peace Prize. 2017, Catalonia's parliament voted to declare the region independent from Spain. Independence Day, resulting in the central government's dismissing that legislative body and calling for new elections, in which the majority of the seats were claimed by the pro-independence movement. In other words, we should follow in the footsteps of Catalonia and declare independence from your current centralized government. 2014, Taylor Swift released 1989, in which she described as her first official pop album. 2004, the Boston Red Sox ended the curse of the Bambino, an alleged hex that began in 1920 when the team's owner sent Root to the New York Yankees in exchange for $125,000 and a personal loan. By defeating the St. Louis Cardinals, my dad's team, to win the World Series title, I remember where I was sitting during those games. It was the Red Sox first MLB championship in 86 years, and I didn't know what to do after that. You saw people walking all over the place with Red Sox hats. So many Red Sox fans came out of the barn after that. In the year 2000, at a concert near Tel Aviv, the music of German composer Richard Wagner was played for the first time in public in Israel. 1979, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, an island country lying within the Lesser Antilles in the Eastern Caribbean Sea, achieved its independence. Man, it's Independence Day for two already here. 1968, physicist Lise Meitner, who researched along with that of Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann, led to the discovery of nuclear fission, died in Cambridge. 1961, the first Saturn rocket was successfully launched, and years later, the Saturn V was the launch vehicle used in the Apollo moon landing flights. 1932, American poet and novelist Sylvia Plath, whose best-known works are preoccupied with alienation, death, and self-destruction, was born. Okay. 1795, Pinckney's treaty and agreement between the U.S. and Spain was signed, giving these United States navigational rights on the Mississippi River. 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed to Cuba and claimed the island for Spain. In 939, Athelstan, the first king to rule over all of England, died. Yeah, I know this was a little faster than it was about the normal time almost. Anyways, have a great night. Thanks for waiting. None of you guys waited. No one was going, hey, Steve's not on. We got to stay up. And please pound some of these energy drinks to stay up. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz underneath. Don't forget sensusfidelium.tv. The app, the Sensus Fidelium app, is available. Google and Apple Play, or whatever it's called, the Apple Store. Check it out. And thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.